Hello! And welcome to effort number 48 of Modern Media Review, the podcast that comes to you via 100% full fibre broadband, we think. I'm Robin Gibson.
And I'm Sean Gollogly.
And yeah, I mentioned the broadband because the government is obviously an incompetent mob of sleazy layabouts who couldn't master their brief any better than I could fly a big plane or tame a lion. Not that I'd want to tame a lion, they should be free to run through the streets. But one of the government's early promises is being fulfilled, Sean, because I was walking down Acre Lane on Sunday in Brixton and saw a huge roadwork with a sign up saying installation in progress, 100% fibre broadband. Remember that was
I do like it.
One of his big promises during the leadership campaign or the election or Brexit or something, full fibre broadband, which sounded sort of weird but like all brand, but now it's coming. It's in progress.
Well, I don't know if a sign guarantees that, Robin.
Installation in progress, mate.
Well, that's just another one of these lovely three-wordish slogans, which apparently we've discovered via Boris and Dominic Cummings that they're a panacea for all events and all our problems.
They are.
I don't know why. I don't know why we had Plato, Socrates, and his fellow navel-gazing polymath Aristotle. If they had realised that, we could have solved everything with three-word slogans, we wouldn't have been cursed with studying metaphysics or getting your head around helomorphism.
I don't know what helomorphism is.
Oh, blimey.
But it does make me wonder what my broadband is actually made out of. Is it full fibre, or is it half flour, half egg white, or 40% human skin? I mean, it's virgin, so maybe it's 20% seashells from Richard Branson's Caribbean island, or beard hair.
No, everyone loves Richard Branson, don't they? Just couldn't the big, rich, beardy one just sack a load of staff, then apply to the government for a bailout or two, Because everyone loves a billionaire who looks after himself, don't they?
They do, and my Virgin broadband is pretty good, full fibre or not. And anyway, it's good to see that something's happening, COVID's opened up the space for roadworks. I was looking at a lot of the signs on Sunday and was walking past the big Sainsbury's, and I started to see a lot of those yellow danger of death. The ones, the triangle signs.
Always reassuring.
And they warn you about lightning strikes or electricity or something, some sort of forked power that's attacking the bloke on the sign. The thing is, though, there was dozens of them, and they weren't all in places where you might find live electricity. Although, I suppose you might find lightning anywhere. But it's like they're broadening it out, like there's danger of death everywhere.
Yeah, except in schools, because there's no danger of death there, or any office, any workplace office, or in any metropolis. There's no way kids can get COVID-19, Robin, because they're like a subspecies of human, and they can't get COVID. So this is why these shirking teachers need to get back to school to teach these children, and why these lockdown loafers need to get back on the underground or on planes and trains to save Boris and co by getting up close and personal with the virus. A bit like Boris did when he cleared off to Cornwall and pitched his yurt, well, uninvited obviously, on some...
Wasn't that in Scotland?
No, Cornwall. On some farmer's land.
Yeah, I think he went to Scotland, mate, sorry.
I think it was Cornwall.
Nah, he went to Scotland.
Oh no, that was Hancock, where he got his nice tan, wasn't it, down in Cornwall? But anyway, I think they call this wild camping now, isn't it, where you just pitch up on someone's land?
Yeah, just set a fire in someone's back garden, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Or just crash into the house and sit down in front of the telly, controlling the remote. The Tories used to be very straight on this sort of thing, it was very straightforward trespass in the good old Tory lexicon of private property protection. Not now, though.
Danger of death with trespass, wasn't there? Especially if you nicked the wrong farmer's telly. But really, it's the obvious line, isn't it, for the government's new campaign to get everyone back to work. Instead of
Absolutely.
Hands, face, space, or check, change and go, just danger of death. Back to work. 3 words as well. Back to work, back to school, observe or die. It's a really strong message. I mean, don't you remember someone else did something similar in Germany? I think it was work sets you free, something like that. Okay, that was ages ago, you know. But, you know, the campaign is about getting employers to reassure people it's safe to come back. As Grant Shapps said, you know, from his home. Safe to go back to the office. But, you know, on the other hand, the Telegraph headline the other day said, get back to work or risk losing your job. Which is a bit strong, isn't it?
I do like this danger of death, and it should be, because obviously 3 strong words again, but it should be applied to these lockdown loafers in their COVID comas, that it's not just that we need to get back to work. If you don't get back to work, you'll be shot. You know, that's... You know, because good luck getting people back to work without something strong. You and me have been in central London and there's nobody there.
Yeah, I know. It's empty. And you've got to say that people are beginning to doubt the delicate genius of Dominic Cummings, aren't they? Whereas if he just took the danger of death tack for everything, they might respect him a bit more. I read the other day that they're not keen on Cummings anymore in a newspaper article. So I've been studying media recently.
Okay.
And listen to this quote. Conservative backbench MPs are in despair, asking why the operation at Number 10, which ignores them and is run by Dominic Cummings, is so prone to mistakes. I mean, duh. There's a bit of an implicit question in there, eh? Do you think Conservative backbench MPs could run the country any better?
Well, that's a tough question, really, Robin. But I suppose all you could say is, could they be much worse? I mean, because poor old Boris, he really aligned himself with some of the blunter tools in the Tory Black and Decker DIY kit on his rise to power. So it's not really surprising that, having had to dredge the sludge at the bottom of the Tory brain barrel, he didn't find too much competency down there.
No, there's not much competency, just more and more slogans. Although that Brexit campaign we reviewed last time, that's up and running. But on LBC the other day, I noticed a more threatening ad the other day. Not danger of death, but not check, change, go either. Now it was like, it's time to get ready, which was delivered a bit too firmly for me. What if you don't want to get ready? I mean, about 48% of people, possibly more now, don't want to get ready.
Oh, well, stop right there, you see, because that slogan, just too many words. Anything more than 3 words is too much for me now that I've been sort of like trained like one of Pavlov's dogs, you know. I was lost after 2.
Well, it's time to get ready. 5 words.
Yeah, too much.
It's really depressing, like, you know, when you're 14 and waking up on a freezing cold day, you know, probably with an illegal hangover, and you were forced to get out of bed and eat some vile cereal and get ready for school.
Absolutely. You know, again, this is pushing us all back into the petri dish of the metropolis and the workplace and school, and which is fine, I guess, if we're willing to take on the blame for everything. But I wouldn't be that enthusiastic if someone in the government or any authority was telling me there was an asteroid hurtling towards the Earth and that I was one of the people that had to get ready, as they would say, to head the ball away from Earth or throw a pillow at the asteroid as it was coming in on us.
Yeah, hope for the best.
Yeah.
They've got to keep launching these campaigns all the time to get people to do stuff, because they can't, unlike you suggest, threaten to kill us all, which they'd probably love to do, wouldn't they? Especially us, the entitled, moaning population of Scotland.
Too bloody right, mate.
And Northern Ireland. Danger of death might even win them the next independence referendum. Or a border poll, although they sort of know about that in Ireland, don't they?
They do.
There is a counterculture out there at the moment where people just don't give a toss about COVID or social distancing or hands and face and space and all that.
It's quite funny how the counterculture has changed, isn't it? I mean, this used to be folk who wore sort of like usually longish, ill-fitting clothes, who knitted their own lentils, did yoga, talked about protecting the environment and equality for all sorts of folk who didn't have 2.4 children, 0.2 of a dog, and go to church parade on the first Sunday of every month. I mean, but this is all a bit different now, our counterculture, isn't it?
Well, you can see it in a lot of pubs, can't you? Like the Weatherspoons. One in Brixton, which is always steaming at 11:30 in the morning. But it's good, though, because it's sort of preparing people for the juvenile schoolyard non-distancing that's on the horizon.
It's unbelievable. And This new counterculture is a bit more focused than this airy-fairy, hey, let's all get on, man. You know, this is more like some bloke filming himself while shouting, fuck off, mate, I'm not wearing a mask, you slag. Bulging eyeballs, spittle peppering the poor person who suggested it might be an idea to use PPE.
You had it the other day, Trafalgar Square and all that. David Icke.
Yeah, and what about that one bloke with his nice little flag?
Yeah, British Union of Fascists, I think that is. Apparently that's not been seen in public since the 1930s.
Yeah, but that's all right, isn't it? It's only a flag, Robin. Sticks and stones. You know? Sticks and stones, and everything comes back into fashion. This is a retro, maybe it was a sort of tongue-in-cheek way of doing it, you know? They were reporting that there were thousands of them, and obviously no one's wearing a mask. This is the group, you know, the eco-friendly shitting in a cardboard box folk on Bournemouth Beach, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, box shitting is a bit of a hobby horse for us. But that was just one I threw in for you.
I'm not convinced they do use a box. I think they just shit on the beach.
Well, I tell you what, there's another little hobby horse of ours, and this is definitely one for you. I was driving through Roehampton the other day, and I saw a man using a public phone box, Robin.
Wow. I never see anyone using the ones near me.
Well, it also functions as a cash point, so obviously my immediate thought was he was just getting some cash, but no. He was putting coins in and making a call.
Wow.
So there you go.
I'm amazed.
I was amazed. I thought, unless he was part of some society, maybe like some English Civil War reenactment society, where, you know, you had a throwback to the 90s. And, but then I guess he was inappropriately dressed, because if it was a 90s society recreating the days of making phone calls from public boxes, he'd be wearing some smiley-face T-shirt and a shell suit, yeah?
Yeah. I wonder who operates these phone boxes now.
God knows.
Probably Richard Branson.
Mike Ashley?
Or Mike Ashley, yeah.
Yeah.
But in Mike Ashley's, you can't stop for a piss.
No, which used to be one of the main reasons for using a public phone box.
Anyway, we'll go on the phone boxes next time, maybe in a bit more depth. But the latest government campaign is the back to school one, isn't it? Hashtag back to school safely. I was listening to some stuff about this on the radio, and the big problem seems to be how they're going to get to school.
Well,
apparently the buses won't be able to fit, you know, all the kids in and observe social distancing. How are you going to get there? Will they let you walk, or will your mum give you a lift?
Well, hopefully my mum will give me a lift. But no, I was a bus school kid, unlike you. And
what do you mean, unlike me?
I was, yeah. Well, you went to posh Paisley Grammar. You must
still walk to school.
Yeah, you must have been getting a lift.
No.
But I have no desire to stand around any school gates. I feel sorry for these teachers marshalling mobs like that, you know. My own memories of the school bus was that basically it was just a petri dish of infectious scrotes. And
exactly.
You know, there's no way that those people that were swinging from the tabs in the bus are going to be social distancing. And furthermore, my own seventh circle of hell as an adult was I was coming back from a casino once, sometime early in the morning. You know, the one on Grosvenor Road? So obviously I was feeling a little jaded and a few quid shorter than when I started. But so I got to Hammersmith and caught my bus home, only to realise what a terrible error I've made, and it's the school bus that they're all getting on. And it was a cacophonous chimps tea party, and I just couldn't deal with it. Anyone that works with children, i.e. teachers, bus drivers, they deserve a knighthood, or you know.
Decent wage?
No, I draw the line at that.
True. That costs taxpayers money, doesn't it?
That does. Yeah, we've got more things. We need to give tax breaks to wealth creators rather than bloody teachers.
Exactly. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They're going to either force us or scare us back to do... Mind you, I mean, you know, I'm not going back to work because I wasn't at work in the first place. But it hasn't worked very well so far, has it? I mean, nobody's gone back to work. And it's a bit like an Ealing comedy, sort of satire of a dictatorship, like Carry On Dictating or something. Johnson says that parents have got a moral obligation to send kids back to school to stop them development from suffering. But he always says he follows the science, but he's not, is he? I mean, our generation went to school every day, but we were smoking. So our development's much more stunted than theirs. I bet you this lot you see in the news don't know one end of an embassy filter from the other. By the time I was 18, this is true, I'd saved enough embassy coupons to get my first snooker cue.
Sweet.
Which I think at the time, in cost of packets of fags, it worked out about £2,000. But it was a good cue, though. And anyway, who is Johnson to give us this guff about moral obligation? I'd be more inclined to take instruction about moral obligation from someone like Mick Jagger. Well, at least he knows who his kids are and how many he's got. Probably.
Well, yeah. I do love that that preaching section of society, especially when it comes to people who receive benefits. Because you always hear people saying, well, you know, they sit around doing nothing all day and complain they haven't got any money, but they've certainly got enough money for fags and hair dye, Nike trainers and Xboxes. You know?
Well, they still say flat screen TVs in a lot of reports. I saw one the other day with some outraged citizen in the States standing outside somebody's shack. No, literally it was like a shack, saying, I'll bet they've got a new flat screen TV in there. I mean, what TVs aren't flat screen? Maybe people should be spending money on old stuff like penny farthings and lard, gas lamps. You know, and that old arsenic wallpaper, I looked that up. You know, you could get arsenic poison from brightly coloured wallpaper.
No.
In the sort of Victorian era. But they
said
on the Smithsonian website, which is quite good for odd stuff, it said before the craze for the coloured wallpaper had reached Britain, the danger of arsenic paint had been acknowledged in Europe.
Oh, hang on.
But these findings were ignored by British manufacturers. So going by that, look at it, Liz, we might get the old arsenic wallpaper back after Brexit.
Well, this is one of the reasons that I voted Brexit. Those lily-livered Europeans not allowing us to bring back our good old arsenic wallpaper. You know, getting back to people on benefits who should be controlled, because it's not really their money, is it? It's ours.
Well, it wasn't ours.
Well, really it is, and they should need my say-so.
Yet again, I have to say, Sean, that when you refer to ours, I think you're referring to theirs, because
historically,
not yours, is it? What money have you contributed recently? No PAYE, that's for sure.
Well, they should have my say-so about spending any money, regardless. Because I like owning people that are less well off than me. It makes me feel superior.
Right, that's nice.
And I love the fact that people, whenever, you know, you're paying taxes, suddenly you think that you pay for the whole of the NHS, all social benefits, nuclear weapons, you know, all from just Mr. Joe Smith who lives at 67 Acacia Avenue. Well played, but for Christ's sake, these people may have nicked their Nike trainers anyway, so don't worry about them.
No.
Well, they're all thieves, aren't they, Robin?
Yeah, I'm going to leave this little hobby horse to you, actually.
Okay, well, I was just thinking, so if people have all these discriminatory ideas and views about people, what about Boris? Shouldn't he be paid in non-transferable shop vouchers?
Yes.
So he can go to his local Iceland and buy turkey Twizzlers for his ever-growing, 4x3x4 brood. He's a public servant, presumably, so therefore can't be trusted with his /our cash. Probably left to his own device, he'd splurge a lot on yurts, red wine, and what about replica Routemaster bus models?
Yeah.
Possibly not contraceptives, anyway.
No, well, that little rant over, let's just stop. Stop for a bit and say it's 1:44. I like to get a time check in, Sean.
That's good, that.
And I do a little bit of promo work and say, glad you could wait for our latest 2-week break.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue listening or subscribe or share our stuff as well, you can do that on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, which has been a bit flaky recently, actually, Google Podcasts.
Okay.
I think we're on all of them, to be honest.
Yeah, but the big question is, are we going to sing Land of Hope and Glory and Rule Britannia at the end of the podcast?
No.
Or maybe hum it. Could we hum it?
Hum it, like Rangers fans doing the Billy Boys now. They're not allowed to sing it.
Yeah.
It's quite sinister. Any mass humming is very sinister.
Absolutely. It would certainly set me on edge.
Anyway, so, yeah, and we've also got a website, by the way, modernmediareview.com. Have we mentioned it all? Apple Podcasts, right?
Yeah.
That's that. Listen to it on there, so please subscribe and share it with your friends if you like it.
Listen to it or be shot.
Yeah, danger of death. Never mind these government campaigns, Sean. just before we end, there's some weird press campaigns going on that, to me, that are sort of spurious stuff that it's all over the place, and it seems sort of designed to distract you, but I don't know from what. It's not just coronavirus. My favourite was the one the other day in the Mail saying Corbyn advisor Seamus Milne sort of gave the whole number 10 team coronavirus.
I like that one.
I mean,
I knew Corbyn had to be to blame for something.
Was that when Seamus Milne visited to discuss something or other before Corbyn? What were they discussing?
God knows.
Doesn't need much discussing this. I don't believe that he gave the whole number 10 team coronavirus.
Why not?
No, I just don't.
Okay.
It just seemed to be made up guff. And then also the Mail started ranting on about Boris Johnson's holiday, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Why did they say that, they basically said that he's inept, didn't they?
Well, they're very cross with him because the Mail are always very clever in that they always remember to defer to the base, and that is a lot of middle-class people whose Jacinda and Jocasta, if they didn't get their A++ star A-level results right, Johnson's going to get it in the neck for that.
Yeah.
Or Gavin Williamson. Oh, no, not Gavin Williamson. He'd find someone else to sack, wouldn't he?
Johnson reminds me of there's an old Peanuts cartoon, right? Where, like, Lucy, the bossy one, is sort of standing there saying, do this, do that, jump to it. I think it'd be a good queen. And it's like, that's about the amount of preparation Johnson's put into being PM, isn't he? Isn't it?
Oh, I mean...
frankly, a bunch of 5-year-old cartoon characters would do just as good a job. But the main point to me is that the Mail had a go here, saying carry on camping and not giving solace to people who've endured uncertainty. But then there's something weird going on with it, because then, a couple of days later, they run this thing saying that he's like the voice of the people because he's slagging off the BBC about that Rule Britannia stuff. I mean, he didn't say anything about A-levels or care homes or impending nuclear war or any of the serious matters, but they all get behind him because he's blasting the BBC.
They love having a go at the BBC, don't they?
Yeah.
But the BBC they've made a bit of an arse of themselves with this, haven't they?
Anyway, it's good to hear a bit of classical music, and this brings me on to my next... sort of very circuitously to my next weird, pathetic diversion that's going on, this migrant thing. There's a few people in rubber dinghies, and there's a whole sinister media subculture building up like that. Did you see that YouTube vlog by some Billy Britain character? Some twat from the Morrissey party for Britain.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's like him and this councillor in Epping have done this video, the Epping Migrant Hotel Scandal, wandering about Epping in the rain with Beethoven's Fifth and the music from The Omen. They're complaining about the Bell Hotel, which looks very nice, being full of immigrants, and then food banks giving food to the immigrants. So they go, well, they're already been fed at the Bell Hotel.
It's pretty grim, really. I mean, I don't think it was The Omen music, was it, Robin?
Yeah, well, actually, no. I looked it up. It's Karl Orff, another German composer. We used to call him Karl Fuck Orff, actually, which I always thought was quite amusing. But, it does say on the YouTube music video, mood, impending doom.
It's different. I mean, I find it hard to watch these type of YouTube rants where they're wandering around trying to find people to slag off and be nasty about. And music always is very difficult because if there's a piece of music there, it colours you against that music for a start. And it's a bit now like how I find it difficult sometimes to listen to sort of like Michael Jackson music or the Smiths because, Morrissey hasn't covered himself with glory. And do we really want to listen to the Smiths? Or, I mean, what next? No R. Kelly?
Well, I mean, you've got to take his art apart from the artist, haven't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, this stuff's getting thousands of views. I mean, I remember when Epping was a place that wasn't synonymous with fascists. It was synonymous with, like, crass, dial house, anarcho-punk, open house policy for all. Not just strays, but immigrants as well, if any got there.
It's funny, isn't it? Because in these times, there was an unexpected voice of reason. And it wasn't anyone from Crass, funny enough, and certainly I wouldn't think he'd describe himself as an anarchist, although people I'd imagine who'd be commenting on his posts might. But it's footy presenter and all-around nice guy, Gary Lineker. So, Gary, super smooth match of the day presenter, but fair play, when challenged by people saying, well, you know, if you think it's fine for migrants to be swarming into this country, would you take them into your own home? And commendably, from the ex-England man, he said yes. I'm not sure I'd make the same offer, to be fairly frank, but I was thinking about it because I happen to know where Gary lives, what part of southwest London. I'm not sure if the migrants, if they wouldn't struggle there somewhat, because never mind a cup of your artisan mugacino coffee costing £30 on the high street, but it's also a fair old walk up to the McCall's to get some milk, or which probably costs a tenner there as well.
McCall's? I mean, you must be close to giving away his location here, Sean.
Oh, I better tone it down then, hadn't I? But worse than that, the real thing I thought that would probably have the migrant running out through the front door, shouting and screaming, was that you'd probably be subjected to watching Gary winning the 86 World Cup Golden Boot, Leicester City winning the 2016 Premier League title, or Gary making a home video of him making a 100 break against Willie Thorne.
Well, maybe they wouldn't want to watch that, but I mean, at least there'd be a telly. I mean, if migrants were sent to the Crass house, they for a start, I doubt they'd like the vegan diet, and then there was no TV at Crass's house at all.
Okay.
You know, when I was a kid, I actually wrote to them asking if they didn't have TV because I couldn't actually believe it.
Did they reply?
Yeah, they wrote back and said they don't have any TV because it's all fucking bullshit. Capitalist or something or other, I don't know.
I do like the fact. I don't want to mention Jumal Fixit or anything like that, but I do like the fact that people actually wrote to celebrities and got replies back.
Well, Crass used to write back to everyone.
That's brilliant. So good.
And they wrote a whole song about Coronation Street. Great first line. Coronation Street is on twice a week. Grey puke fucking shit. That's great lyricism, isn't it? But anyway, they weren't missing that much because it was only on twice a week for a start then. And there was only 3 channels.
Exactly, and we had no late night telly and no early morning telly.
Yeah, and there's only one channel here, Sean. And I think we should think about closing down.
Okay.
Because it's now 1:54. That's 2 time checks in one podcast. I'm
That's
very
very
pleased
impressive.
with that. Yeah. And I don't think we should play them. They used to play the national anthem when the TV shut down, didn't they?
Absolutely. Didn't used to stand up in your house. We did.
I'll get a copy and tack it on to the end of the podcast. Or not.
We could always hum it.
I'll leave you in suspense about that one.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll be back in another 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Loosely speaking.
Yep.
With some more modern media reviews. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.
Cheers for
and
listening.
Goodbye.
Ta-da.
Bye.